that had been placed there by Hamas. What a contrast to the Israelis, who rushed their children into shelters and put their weaponry in front of their children, not behind their children. And yet, even in that time, our own government, my government, and I'm ashamed of what they did. They tried to say, and I remember John Kerry and President Obama saying, both sides need to calm down. I thought, wait a minute. If I'm walking down the street, someone mugs me, I'm not supposed to calm down. The mugger is the criminal. I'm the victim. I have a right to defend myself. Please don't tell me that somehow I invited the attack. And this week, when we had the San Bernardino massacre, tragically, some in our own government continued to pretend as if that we've just got to be careful not to say anything that offends Muslims, because after all, it's our fault that these murders happened. When our own Attorney General said that she's going to prosecute people who say something unkind about Muslims, well, first of all, has the Attorney General ever read the First Amendment? I have the right to offend people. I try not to do it intentionally or purposefully or provocatively, but there is no crime in speaking out against anyone I wish to speak out. If she's going to prosecute that, then I'm going to demand that she prosecute all the people who speak very evil of me. And there are a bunch of them. This is nuts. We need to go after the criminals, the terrorists, not go after law-abiding citizens. And this is a great concern. So I'm hoping and praying that God will raise up people in this country, Jew, Christian, for that matter, atheist, I don't care what they believe, but they need to believe in sanity. They need to believe in a sense of moral honesty and moral clarity. And that means that we have to recognize there's a difference between the good guys and the bad guys. For many years I've said that I think Barack Obama could watch a Western from the 50s and he wouldn't have a clue as to who the good guys and the bad guys were, even watching one of those old Westerns where the bad guys wore the black hats and the good guys wore the white hats. That's pretty scary. Well, thank you very much. I want to tell you how much I appreciate getting to be here with you. Appreciate Dr. Joe Frager and his wife Karen, who've been so instrumental helping us put some events together to meet with people here in the New York area. And I just ask you to help us in our campaign, because one thing you can be assured of, I will continue to speak with absolute clarity when it comes to the relationship that we have with Israel and to the reason that Americans need to support our friend and ally. I'll be happy to take a few questions.
Europe has been hostile.
Yes.
Not so in America, except for exceptions to the exceptionalism, as you're well aware. So I wish to express my appreciation, not just for you, of course, for who you are and what you represent, but for the good fundamental Christian society of America that knows right from wrong, good from bad, and will stand up for what they believe in, for the truth. Thank you. Please express our appreciation.
Thank you. And to that, let me stand and just say thanks for that kind comment, but I want to respond to it. One of the concerns I have, there are many younger Christians coming up who have been duped by some of the propaganda that is being financed by the Saudis to the billions of dollars in our universities and campuses. And one of our great challenges that we face in the Christian community is doing a better job of communicating to younger Christians why Israel is our ally, our friend, and our biblical partner. And we have to make sure that we recognize our responsibility in the Christian community to teach our children that God's promises are never broken to us, even though we break some of ours to Him. And what that means is that God's chosen people, the Jews, have a right to their indigenous homeland. It is our responsibility to join in protecting that fundamental right. And I've said this many times, Joe Frager knows, we were on a trip one of our many trips to Israel together. I was the only non-Jew in the whole group. And Joe remarked, he said, you know, sometimes people in the Jewish community wonder why it is that evangelical Christians are so supportive of Israel. And Joe even mentioned, which I know to be true, sometimes the evangelicals are more supportive of Israel than the American Jews.
Yeah, that's right.
I know that's true. Sadly true. And I said, well, Joe, it's real simple. It's possible to be Jewish and have no connection whatsoever to Christians. You don't have to have. But I can't be a Christian and not have a complete connection to the Jewish people, because everything in the Old Testament, everything in your scriptures, I embrace, believe, and is foundation. So there's nothing that you're teaching that I'm opposed to. Nothing you're teaching that I say, well, I'm not connected to that. But most importantly, it's because we evangelicals are not like some Christian denominations who believe that parts of the Bible are true or parts aren't, or that some parts of the Bible no longer are valid because they were only there for, you know, a time. And so they will be able to rationalize the idea that Israel is really not a place for the Jewish people, that they don't have a right to it. For those of us who accept the Scripture as authoritative, it's real easy. It's real simple. If God made a promise to the Jews and He has chosen them as their people, then I respect that and know that God hasn't changed His mind. If God has given title deed from the time of Abraham to this land, then it is my duty and responsibility to obey God in respecting that and to being there to help defend. And if God has said that the nations who bless Israel will be blessed and those who curse Israel will be cursed, then I'm smart enough to want to be blessed. I'm not stupid enough to want to be cursed. So thank you very, very much.